Sunny Bonani, goeiedag, hello and welcome from a sunny and warm KwaZulu-Natal North Coast to live at the Waterhole on Wild Earth with me, Sean, and the Wild Earth crew. Thanks to our regular viewers for joining us. I look forward to getting to know some of you, and if this is your first time with us, a big virtual welcome and hug, and welcome to the family. I'm looking forward to guiding you for the next 2 hours through the wonderful spectacle that is Africam's waterhole cameras. We'll be traveling all over Africa via the comfort of your home or office, and hopefully we'll bump into a few safari favorites along the way. So we want to hear from you, and I would love to chat, and so get involved and join the conversation via our various social media channels and websites, or alternatively, send us a WhatsApp and let me know who you are and what you would like to know. I will also be asking you guys some questions too, so keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. This is our safari. So we start, of course, with elephants at Aldonyo Lodge in Kenya. And yeah, it looks like it is few males. I think there's a female on the right there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, looks like it's predominantly males there. And elephants are so funny, man. At this time of the day at the waterholes, they just kind of rest and sometimes look like they're sleeping and just almost go to sleep at the waterhole. But do not be fooled. These guys are well aware of what's going on, and I'm sure you guys have seen that these guys they chase the animals away from the water holes when they come. They're just so grumpy when it comes to water, especially as we're now going into the dry season. They get more and more kind of possessive over their water. Fuzzy Dunlop, thank you so much for welcoming me, and happy Monday to you as well. I hope that something creeps onto our screens and gives us a bit of a wake-up call this morning, this afternoon. Hopefully we get a cat. That's obviously the will be the winner, but you never know at this time of the day, especially if it's warm. Most of the time the big cats are on siesta, but thank you very much, Fuzzy, for your welcome. So I often laugh at these guys when I'm with guests. I see Andrew has just sent through something. Have you seen any elephant tuskers before? So Andrew, I have seen a few tuskers. I've been very fortunate to have worked in Kruger Park for many years as a private guide, and unfortunately with hunting practices over the years, a lot of the genetics have been lost, but especially up in northern Kruger Park, you still get some pretty impressive tuskers. And every now and again you kind of catch up to them on the road, and I'm just floored at how magnificent they are and how big they get being vegetarians. I mean, you know, you'd expect these guys to be at least getting a high protein from some meat somewhere. But fortunately for the impala, they're not interested in meat, and they just have their vegetation going, and it's phenomenal. But in this region here at Aldonyo, it's not too far away from Amboseli National Park, and that area has got some of the most magnificent tuskers you will ever see anywhere in Africa. Some of the elephants, not just big tusks, but big elephants. We're talking 7.5 ton elephants dragging these massive tusks around. It's seriously impressive to watch them not only just go about their day with feeding and drinking, but managing that weight. 60% of an elephant's weight is carried on its front arms and over its wrists. And so you can just imagine, with that huge cranium and a heart that sometimes can weigh over 30 kilograms, those extra tusks can be absolutely massive. So yeah, it's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Penelope, hello to you, and yes, enjoying the sightings already. It's always great. I can sit and watch elephants for hours. I love these guys, and I love the little noises they make, and I love the fact that they will be communicating and having a huge fat chat, and we can't hear a thing. You know, they'll be probably talking about the fact that there's always a weird camera at the waterhole and who is on the other side, and we just can't understand or hear what's going on. I love these guys. They're phenomenal. And Lucy, thank you so much for your question. You are asking, how can one tell the age of the elephant? Well, Lucy, it can be difficult sometimes depending on the region that you're in. Ooh, a little bit of, obviously something was said there that shouldn't have been. So generally how I try and tell the age of elephants is I look at the size can be a factor at times. And so sometimes you can look at that elephant and kind of gauge just by looking at the size. If you are used to an area and you're used to kind of the elephants that you have there. But generally what I look for is, as the elephant starts to age, their muscles around their shoulders and neck start to weaken with that massive weight of their cranium and tusks. And so their head starts to droop, and it almost looks like they get like a little saddle. And then you can kind of tell that elephant is getting on in age. And you can kind of guesstimate it to be in its 50s normally. Elephants generally live to about 65 years in the wild. They can generally live a longer with their vital organs and everything, but they wear their teeth down. They get 6 sets of teeth throughout their life. By the time they get to the age of 20, they're already on their 6 sets, so they've got to really look after them. And generally what happens is, by the time they get into their late 40s and 50s, especially in the drier areas where they have to feed on sticks and vegetation with stones in for 3 or 4 months of the year, they tend to grind those teeth down. And by the time they get into their 50s, 60s, they just aren't able to ingest the amount of food that they need to ingest. And they tend to kind of just get weaker and weaker and then pass away, generally in an area where the food is soft. But yeah, that's I would love to say long story short, but it really was a short story long there for you, Lucy. So I hope that answers your question. Spas, it's very nice to meet you virtually, and thank you very much for your welcome. So Spas, I have been privately guiding now for nearly 15 years. And I privately guide not just in Kruger, but I go all over Africa, and I absolutely, I love it. It's not. I don't class it as a job. I'm so passionate about everything to do with the outdoors, and I just absolutely love it. It's very nice to meet you. Thank you, Spas, for the question. And then Marcus. You're asking me, why is it rare to see elephants mating? So Marcus, the elephant herds are made up of females with young males and at various ages. And so things are generally quite calm and chilled, and life goes on. As you see, these boys are at the waterhole here. Life goes on and things are great. when a male elephant comes into the area and has picked up that the females are on heat, he can be quite aggressive and quite excited. And sometimes he brings those pheromones and activity and the communication, as I mentioned, will bring other male elephants into the area as well. And sometimes then fights occur. And I've seen male elephants really go at it when fighting over mating. So it completely changes the dynamic of the herd, and it really upsets the females. And so quite often they will move away and into kind of more secluded, kind of safer areas, and will try and shirk and chase the males away until eventually one of the females will relent and will mate with the males. So it's not something that they're comfortable doing, like you often would see lion mating or leopard mating. But with elephants, it's a big ordeal. And then the female then basically is pregnant for almost 2 years. It's 22 months. So I spoke to my wife about this, and she said to me she got to 7 months and she wanted the baby out. So you can just imagine 22 months and giving birth to something that weighs between 100 and 150 kilograms. I don't think it's on their bucket list of things to do every 5 years, I've got to be honest. So shame, it's crazy, but we love them none the same. And then we've got a giraffe coming in for his moment of glory there. You can check he or she, I can't quite see yet, is having a look in the bush there. It's obviously spotted something interesting. So yeah.
For years we've shared virtual wildlife. Now let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
Would you like to know what an elephant's favorite food is? You could ask me questions like that in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive from the heart of Africa. Over here. Watch Safari Live and connect with nature.
Step away from your daily stress and escape into nature with Wild Earth. Immerse yourself in the wilderness and become part of the natural landscape. Watch as everything comes alive. Join us as we slow down our thoughts, put aside our distractions, and reconnect with the wild.
Every day, so these guys need to make sure that they don't overheat. So that's a big surface area to heat up. So they very, very often see them this time of year. As you can see, that elephant on the right there, busy spraying himself down with water, covering themselves in dust. All the things that we should do. I know I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I'll be on game drive and I don't cover up the way that I should, and I get home and my poor wife is looking at me thinking, oh grief, There's another mole coming up, another sun-driven mole. So I am getting better at that, though, absolutely. Cat fan, thank you so much for your message. So you would love to sit down to dinner with a tiger. Jeepers. I tell you what, that would be quite an interesting discussion. But you're saying that you might become the dinner. Yeah, possibly. You never know. Never ever know with tigers. But yeah, we all have I'm a big believer that we all have our spirit animals. And obviously yours, cat fan, would be a tiger. So yeah. Let me know, guys. Let me know who you'd like to talk to, and also let me know what you would ask. I'd love to know what you would ask these animals. Maybe one day in the near future we could figure out how to communicate with them somehow, and we could pass on all this information to them. Although to be fair, they probably would be completely disinterested in these hairless apes running around, staring at them with cameras and binoculars. But maybe one day we'll find someone or at least an animal that's willing to discuss their life with us. Look at these boys. Look how sweet they are. I love them. Ed, thank you so much. You would love to sit with our hyenas so you can maybe see inside their dens. So Ed, that's awesome. I like that. Yeah, it's almost like what's going on in there? What's all the commotion sometimes? And, most of the time the dens are dug out by aardvarks. And these aardvarks make these very intricate tunnel systems. So often if an aardvark gets chased by a lion or leopard in the evening, they'll go in one hole and then they'll wait and see if it comes out. But that aardvark's already gone out and disappeared out of another hole further down the bottom. So they've got these intricate tunnel systems. So you probably find like it's a little hotel in there, Ed. It could possibly be better than some of the dodgy places I've stayed at. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm just too scared to go in, to be honest with you. But thanks for the question. I'm so busy with you guys, I'm not even talking about what's happening on screen here with these beautiful boys having a bit of a chat here. This is a beautiful view, guys. Now look at these two. Oh, we've got a little sneaker. Yeah, unacceptable. Yeah, typical. Very unselfish. It's very selfish, should I say? Poor giraffe. But I was going to say, if we go back into that beautiful view, you're going to see those two boys. Look at how rounded their heads are. That is one of the best ways to see a male and female elephant. That big rounded cranium. Oh, we've got a second try here. Let's see whether he's going to let this happen. Check his friends using him as a dummy. Clever. Oh, sorry. Next time. They're so selfish. Can you believe it? Shame. Oh well. Maybe next time. I feel really, really bad for them. And of course now he's showing off and showing, hey, I'll just spray the water you were going to drink on the floor. They're so funny, these guys. So, Gianna, I think it is. Please excuse me if I have mispronounced your name. You are saying that you'd love to sit with any of the birds and find out more about their roots and migration stories. Now that is a cool. That would take a lot more than a dinner, I think, because some of the bird species they travel. They travel thousands of miles. Yeah, and you'd love to know what they see, right? What countries they go to, what they see, what their favorite country is, where their favorite food is. I think we should start a show, guys. What do you reckon? I think we should start an animated TV series called Dinner With, and then every episode we have a new animal that comes on, and we have discussions with it, and we'll just make it up. It's fine. Reality TV, it'll be fine. There we go. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, the giraffe are not giving up. I love it. Tenacity. Gotta have tenacity in the bush, otherwise you just don't survive. Just gonna chill in the back there and just wait for old Grumpy here. He doesn't seem to be relenting anytime soon. Hopefully these guys move off eventually, but they're just loving life at the waterhole, as are we. Just loving life at the waterhole at this time of day. Here we go again, third attempt. I think it's the same female as well, because I recognize that little bit of tuft of hair on the back of their neck there. Is she going to get this right? I don't know. I think, yeah, she's going to back out. Oh, man, I tell you what, this is awesome. Oh, now listen, we've got the comrades coming in here. I think it's we've got the elephants are going to be outnumbered soon. This could get quite interesting. I love it, eh? So cool. Lenny, thank you so much for your question. You, well, your comment, shall I say? You are saying that you would like to talk to the lions, specifically ask the Kambula male lion coalition why they don't just stop fooling around and become the dominant males in the Chitwa area. That would be an interesting discussion, Lenny. I'd love to hear their response. I don't think it would be as polite as your question, but it would be quite interesting. Oh, here we go again. I don't know if she might have picked her moment. No, old one tusk there is not having it. Shame. Oh dear. But thank you, Lenny. Yeah, it would be very interested to find out when that male coalition are going to try and become the dominant males. You know, it's such a there's just so many dynamics that we just don't understand, that we just don't get, you know, with the animals out there. We can try and figure it out, but yeah, it can be quite difficult. And then Sadea, thank you so much. You are saying that you'd like to talk to a leopardess and ask her how hard it is to raise cubs without family dynamic, to help her like lions do. That would be an interesting discussion, because I think we could learn a lot from a leopard. Oh, got a bit of a standoff here. No. Oh man, sorry to interrupt. Oh, and there's the leg. So guys, old one tusk there on the right of your screen. You saw that leg. Oh no, here we go now. He's going to exert his authority. So you saw him lift his leg up and wave it there. So he wasn't waving at his friend in the distance. What he was doing is, they often do that as a sign of irritation. As a guide, it's one of the things that we look for when we're in an elephant sighting. If the elephant's starting to get a little bit irritated with us or wants us to move on, they often lift their foot up and wave it like that, and it's a sign for us guides to maybe make sure that we have an escape route planned. But old Grumpy seems to be moving off. Sorry guys, I've got severe animal ADD here because there's just so much going on. But Sadea, your question about leopardesses and raising cubs without a family, I think it would be an amazing discussion, because how difficult must it be to raise 2 cubs on your own, keep them safe, feed them, look after yourself. Yeah, it would be an amazing discussion, just almost like a supermom of note. Oh, finally. Victory! Oh, there we go. Oh,
the sun folds in front of you.
Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
And I have, on occasions, while I'm walking in the bush, will come across a bull elephant who is underneath one of these trees, and he's got his head against a tree, and he's actually sleeping. It's so weird to see, dead upright, ears not even flapping, just fast asleep. It's so cool to sit and get photos and watch them. As they go about their little sleeping patterns, but it'll only be for about 20-25 minutes, and then he's got to kind of wake up and carry on with his day, because he'll be eating for 18 to 20 hours every day to get the amount of vegetation he needs, especially the big bulls, and it generally works out to 10% of their body weight. So a 6-ton elephant will need to consume around about 600 kilograms of food every day. That is absolutely crazy if you think about it. It varies obviously, because sometimes they find a nutrition source that's high in proteins and carbohydrates and stuff, so they don't generally need to eat as much, but generally speaking it's 10%. So he or she will just feed around pretty much all day. It's basically like a teenager really in the pantry, 18 hours of the day just eating all the bread. I think some of us can kind of understand that, right? I've got a teenager in the house now, and tell you what, there's not often bread available, especially when I'm hungry, but that's just part of life, isn't it? See, you've got a little okay guys, so we're going to head over to Camel Thorn. Let's go see what's going on. We'll leave our friends here at Aldonia. Let's go see what's going on at Camel Thorn. Well, it looks like Monday is Hippo Conference Day at Camel Thorn. Check at all of them. Wow. That is huge. So that won't be one pod of hippo. it'll probably be about 2 or 3 different pods that are congregating together. It's so dry there. Wow. And it's not uncommon for this to happen at this time of year, as the water sources are starting to dry up. You know, they have preferred areas that they prefer to lie in, so they generally will sleep in the water in a shallow area where they can just drop their head up and down, and those areas start to dry up fairly quickly. So this is not uncommon to see, but it is fairly common at this time of year to see males fighting, because these water sources are drying up. So yeah, it's not going to be a very uncommon sight as we kind of watch this. We might get a few close-ups of 1 or 2 males that have had scratches and bites, and it doesn't look great and it looks horrible, but these guys have got a natural antiseptic in their blood which helps to heal. I've seen male hippos with absolutely just terrible wounds, and you just think to yourself, wow, this is like, how is that going to heal? And then, you know, I'll see that hippo a couple of months later, and you know, you can see the scar, but it's pretty much healed. So they're phenomenal creatures, absolutely amazing. There's a few of them having a bit of a sleep. No elephants to bug them, which is nice. But there's plenty of space there for them to feed. And so we've gone over to Moella now to go and have a look at some zebra having a bit of a drink. It always fascinates me how beautiful these creatures are. They just, you know, and I take a lot of photos when I'm on tour, and you know, they're a photographer's dream because they are beautiful in color and in black and white, and yeah, they're just so nice. It's so beautiful. Very skittish at waterholes though, very, very skittish. It's not uncommon to see them drink a little bit and then kind of bolt backwards, and then gets your heart going because you're like, oh, there's a predator, get your camera, and then it ends up being an impala coming through the bush or something. Happens quite a lot. And of course that amazing call that they make. Dylan, thank you very much for your question. You're asking, is it easy to differentiate male and female zebras? So Dylan, apart from the obvious, it can be quite difficult. So the males are bigger and they tend to have much thicker necks. And the reason for that is when they are fighting, they tend to bite each other and kick, and that extra bit of padding helps to protect them while they're doing this. And the other way to have a look is if you're looking behind a zebra, you'll see that the females have got almost a much wider, almost black stripe, whereas the males, you can hardly see the black stripe. It's very, very thin. So from behind, you just look at and see how thick the stripe is, and that's an easy way to have a look. And obviously from behind, the obvious occurs too. But yeah, if you're in the bush and you're having a look, just have a look at the best thing to do is have a look at a few of them, and then try and find 1 or 2 of them that just look bigger and stockier. Very similar to male leopards. They've got big necks, big shoulders, and that's the best way. So thank you, Dylan. Thanks for your question. I sometimes feel sorry for the animals this time of the year when they have to drink out of that dodgy water. Who knows what's in that water? I bet you if I went and had a cup of water out of that water now, I probably wouldn't be on Wild Earth ever again. Probably would be 6 feet under. Who knows what's in there? Crazy. But these guys have got the most amazing guts. Throughout the year, they're just being introduced to different parasites and bacteria. And so they've got the most, they just can stomach almost anything. So I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. And water's water. And actually, a little tip for you guys, if you ever get stuck out in the bush for whatever reason, hopefully it's a good one. Zebra are very, very water dependent. They will drink 2 to 3 times a day. And if they cannot find permanent water, they will actually dig for water, very similar to elephant. And so if you follow them, quite often you will you'll find a water source, and especially if they've dug, then it's fresh, and then you can grab a drink as well. So bear that in mind. Put it on your checklist of survival for the next time you're running around the bush. And on that note as well, you follow them for water and follow monkeys for food, because monkeys have a very similar digestive system to us, and whatever a monkey eats, we can eat. Don't follow baboons though. They can handle certain poisons and certain bacteria that we can't. So make sure it's a vervet monkey and not a chacma baboon, okay? You can see all the different game paths that come through the bush as the animals. You can see there's one on the left there, one on the right. All these animals coming in, and as the bush thins out, you get to see all these different trails. It's like a highway, it's actually fun to walk on these animal trails sometimes, because often, especially if you're tracking, often you can pick up some amazing tracks on all these little trails. So Tony, thank you very, very much for your question. You are asking if algae-infested water can make the animals sick. So Tony, it depends on what algae it is. Just kind of general algae that you find pretty much, especially in the summer season, isn't an issue. But when you start talking about blue algae, and your kind of your algae that has got an element of poison to it, or often the algae that utilize quite a lot of oxygen in the water for them to obviously grow, the animals will generally try and stay away from it, or at least will try and find an area where the algae infestation is not as bad. And then they'll go and drink from there. I've never heard of an animal in my years getting ill from algae. Obviously from mining activities and toxins in the water, that has happened a few times, but not from algae. However, if there's someone out there that has some information about algae infestation and has seen it actually make animals sick, let us know. Love to hear from you. I'm here to learn as much as you guys are, so it'd be cool. And then of course I will utilize it on my next safari, and get all the credit. And don't forget to send your questions and comments through, guys, on our WhatsApp. It's the easiest way to get hold of us, and we'd love to hear from you.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Woo! This is action-packed.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
And I mean thousands of zebra around. It's good to kind of know who your mates are. And so that identification is quite important. And you can see with beautiful camera shots here. Thanks guys, this is great. You can actually see, try and pick out, everyone's different. Everyone's got a different line, different coloration. And these Burchell zebra have also got a shadow stripe. So you'll check on the white stripe itself. They've got almost like a faint brown stripe to it. We call it a shadow stripe. It's very indicative of this particular species, Burchell's or plain zebra. The other two species that we get, they don't have that shadow stripe. It's just black and white. Just listening to the drinking and the birds, and it's just so tranquil. So we are back with our friends at Aldonia, and I see the party has continued, the little cocktail party under the umbrella thorn tree on the right, on our right at least. And yeah, we have this guy, I don't know, this guy's just living the dream at the pool, just living life. Maybe he's the lifeguard, I don't know, who knows. We'll call him the Hoff. I think that should be his name from now on. He's enjoying a nice drink there. So just listen out when he sucks that water up. Just listen out for that sound as he blows it in to his into his mouth so that he can swallow. It sounds like starting to fill like a 60-liter drum with water. So a big elephant can hold about 15 liters of water in their trunk at a time. And I read a paper on a scientific paper on some of the desert elephants will sometimes hold water in their trunks for periods of time as they're traveling around. Aren't they just amazing? They're just like the ultimate traveler. And of course these guys used to I think there's another elephant or animal coming in from our side, looking at his behavior. Possibly something will come into screen soon. But don't forget, these guys used to travel all over Africa. They incredible creatures, and in fact a lot of our roads in Africa, our main highways and main roads, were actually built from old elephant tracks, of these animals finding the easiest and best ways to and from places, because these guys used to just migrate. You know, they weren't stuck in reserves like they are now, where we protect these guys and just love them so much, as we all do. But these guys used to travel everywhere, and you'd be in areas where you wouldn't see elephants for months and months. As the breeding herds traveled around, the main females had the matriarch, or the lead female. Looks like someone else is coming in again. It had all the information, and just to travel around, just like the original GPS. Just a lot of that information obviously has been lost as we've had to secure them into reserves and all of that kind of thing. But just built for travel, these guys. Just the original overlanders. Just love them. Beautiful views there. It looks like the most gorgeous day at Aldonio. I mean, just look at that light. It's just absolutely perfect with that golden grass. And I mean, here comes a big one. Here comes, this is a big boy. This is quite a large guy. Earlier on, Andrew asked about a tusker. Tell you what, Andrew, this guy's not far away from being one of the biggest boys I've ever seen. He's a big guy. And you see that respect that other male is paying to him. They really are gentle giants. I know, sometimes my kids will, have a YouTube video on and they'll be like, "Dad, someone got chased by an elephant in Kruger Park. What's going to happen?" And next time we go, and I often say to them, actually they're just the most gentle creatures. You just see the interaction with them here. They're gentle and respectful, and if we could only just live our lives like elephants, can you imagine what the world would be like? I suppose no one else would get to drink because we chase them away from the waterhole, but that's fine. We can always sort that out later. And like I mentioned to you guys, there'll be lots of communication going on here. It's just too low a frequency for us to hear, but they'll be having a big chat, these two. But that guy is huge on the left. Absolutely massive. Look at those ears. It's the map of Africa. Can you guys see it? That shape. Beautiful, beautiful ears, and their veins are right. If you have a look, you can see on the camera there, their veins are right almost up on the surface of their ears. And the reason for this is because they flap their ears to pass wind over those veins. Of course, veins take the blood to the heart, and then the heart pumps it through the rest of the body. And so flapping their ears, they're pushing cool air over those veins and cooling the blood down. And it actually cools their body down by 5 to 6%, they say, which is huge. So, yeah, I mean, these guys are the original everything, aren't they? Like a big original air conditioning unit, just without the noise and electricity usage. It's amazing. So Linda, thank you very much for your question. You have asked me, at what stage do reserves decide that elephants pushing down trees is problematic, and how do they deal with it? So Linda, it is a interesting subject. They are very, very destructive. They, generally speaking, as a management tool, you basically need to give a fully grown elephant in its lifetime 1,000 hectares to itself, which is a big area. But unfortunately, especially in southern Africa, we don't get we don't have that don't have that amount of space, just in terms of just how the world works. And so they do become quite destructive, especially in the dry season, which we are in at the moment. They often will push trees over just to get to the tips of the root, and then they disappear. This wasn't an issue back in the day because they didn't damage the area, but as you say, Linda, it becomes problematic, and how do they deal with it? So obviously culling is not something that happens in southern Africa on mass scale that it used to in the 80s and early 90s. So one of the ways they do it in Kruger Park is they have man-made waterholes that they turn on and off. And so what will happen is if an area, if the area ranger is considering that the area around that waterhole, because animals always feed from the water out. So when they've come to the realization that the area needs a little bit of a rest, they let that waterhole dry up, and then they'll open up another waterhole away from that. And of course, these guys are very water dependent, and so they move to the next waterhole, and they'll leave that area to kind of regenerate. And so they switch these waterholes on and off periodically before the damage even occurs. So that's one way they do it. And obviously the best way is to just keep opening up as much space as we can. And it's, for our fans watching, it's so important to support, and even if it's just going to a game reserve and spending the money on the conservation fees while you're in there and driving around and enjoying these sightings, it's so important to show support for them, for the animals, because the more you support these guys, the more areas we can open up and give them space, and the more that we can enjoy it as well. So thank you, Linda, for that. And then Badger, but I'm laughing while I'm talking to Linda. I'm having a good chuckle at your comment about the Ellie is the main bouncer of the club. Absolutely, the Ellie is the main bouncer of the club. If there's a ruckus at the bar and the big Ellie comes towards them, that ruckus ends almost immediately. I think they pay their bill and they go home. Especially the guy on the left. He's a proper...
I met this remarkable rhino bull, whose name is Samson, last year in a place of extraordinary beauty, history and story. I'm going back there to see him in October, and I think you should come with me to his mysterious mountain fastness.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Would you like to know at what age a buffalo calf gets its horns? These are questions that you can ask me in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a serviceman, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve.
Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
That female actually looks pregnant. So their gestation period is a year. And yeah, shame. They normally just give birth to one single foal. But I was very, very fortunate enough to see twins actually again in Kruger Park. Very, very, they were both very, very small, but it was actually quite amazing to see. Come on, Rhino. Do the right thing. Be tourist friendly. Just doing a bit of a scan here. Just having a look and see if we can get lucky. Okay, well guys, hopefully that rhino decides to come down. We'll be watching from our side. We'll come back if that does happen. But we're going to head over to Vic Falls, go see what's going on in the Vic Falls hood. It looks like it's Family Monday at Vic Falls, yeah. With their little young'un and its mom. Mom doesn't look too impressed with something. Possibly another elephant or something coming in. Looks very dry there as well, hey guys. But you know, Vic Falls, that area can be quite deceiving. So you'll have these kind of dry areas, in particular these Mapani thickets. Yeah, the mom is grumpy about something. I think it looks like there's some impala. Yeah, some impala there on the right side of the screen. I don't know why. Doesn't like the impala, but yeah, so these Mapani thickets are so dry, and just, you know, you think, oh my goodness, like how are these animals going to survive? And then you end up going down to the riverine areas on the Zambezi, and it's just like a tropical forest. So yeah, these animals know exactly where to go. Oh, the grumpiness continues with our elephants who didn't want the impala to go to the waterhole. Check the little ones. So these young elephants are just the cutest things. They really are. So notice how he's posturing, right? So ears up, out, shaking the head, telling the impala, this is my waterhole. What's going on? Who do you think you are? My mom will squash you. But what's so funny is they sometimes will do it on game drives, where I'll be sitting with guests busy chatting and having, horrible dad jokes. And one of these elephants will come out. Normally it's the younger males, and they'll come out and they'll do some posturing like that. And then you either don't move or someone on the vehicle will cough or something like that, and then they run off because now they've gotten a fright. It's actually so funny. They're so entertaining, elephants. They really are. I've got a question from Greg. Greg, thank you so much for your question. You're asking, what behaviors have you seen from guests that upset elephants and other animals? So Greg, I've got an interesting story about that. But before I tell you that story, let me answer your question generally. So I've got to say, guests are generally quite well behaved. As a guide, you kind of set the bar on the vehicle as you start the game drive, and you give the do's and don'ts. And honestly, 99.9% of the time, guests will listen to every word you say. Sometimes they get overexcited, and I think that's probably what the most difficult thing is about it. We've got a marabou stork there. The undertakers of the bush. I'll get back to him now. But yeah, so sometimes a guest will get excited and, we'll see something really cool and they'll be like, oh my goodness, and they'll shout. And the animals don't like that. In the animal kingdom, a loud, sharp noise is normally an alarm call, which they really don't like. But I have an interesting story on that. So I had a photographic safari in a game reserve called the Kleseri, which is part of Greater Kruger Park. And we just stopped for sundowners and we had some drinks and snacks, packed up. We hadn't even gotten the light out yet, and we found 2 male lions that were walking up the road. And of course now this is huge excitement, right? And they went, and as lions do in the early evenings, they're lazy, especially the males. They're lazy, and they just lay down. But they lay down, I'm almost positive these animals know we've got photographers, right, as guides. They lay down with their back to us, and so the view wasn't that great. And I parked off at a safe distance, said to the guests, look, let's give these guys a little bit of time. We've got a little bit of light left. I'm not going to shine it. And there was a photographer on the vehicle that was going through some settings. And after about 5 minutes, I saw something come from the game drive vehicle and hit the one lion in the back of the leg, something small. And the lion kind of glanced over at us in disgust and then put his head down again. But one of my guests had thrown a peanut. So he'd taken a handful of peanuts, obviously in South Africa we call it patkos, or snacks for the road. He threw a peanut out his pocket at this lion to try and get him to turn around. And Greg, that probably was the worst behavior that I've ever had from guests. I had to have a stern discussion with him about that. And to his credit, he took it quite well and never did it again. But yeah, that is some of the behavior that we encounter as guides. It's a very interesting job. Sometimes I feel like we're out there more controlling the humans than we are the animals every now and again. Depends who you have though. But thanks for your question, Greg. And so now we've got some scavenger activity here at the waterhole. So we've got that marabou, that big tall bird that looks like it's wearing a jacket, that's busy drinking right now. That is called a marabou stork. It's one of the ugly five. And yeah, we call them undertakers, as I said, because they bald and it looks like they're wearing an undertaker's jacket. And then we've got 2 species of vulture. So the ones on screen right now are white-backed vultures. And the ones just off to the left of them, which I'm sure we'll see soon, are called hooded vultures. Now we have a few different species of vultures, but these vultures, they all have their own role to play at a carcass. So forget that we've got jackal and hyena and lion and everything. If an animal dies of natural causes and falls down, it's the job of the vultures to come in and clean up. They are extremely important birds. Without them, we would have disease spreading like wildfire through the bush. And generally what happens is, I see the hooded vultures decided to leave the area. But generally what happens is the first vulture to come in will be the lappet-faced vulture. They are the biggest and they look like flying velociraptors. Really cool birds, very impressive. And their job is to open the carcass. So they will fly in, they'll open up the carcass, and they go for the bigger chunks of meat. When they are finished with it, these guys here, the white-backed vultures, and Cape vultures as well, which look fairly similar, they're just a lot whiter, they will come into the carcass, and you see that long neck and that big sharp beak of theirs. Their job is to actually go into the carcass and to clean the carcass out. And I've seen these guys in a buffalo carcass literally inside the carcass, inside the stomach cavity, feeding inside there. It's absolutely crazy. And you'll get hundreds of them that'll go in there, and they have these big fights, and it's quite crazy actually. And then if any of you guys saw the hooded vultures that were there, they are what we call the toothpicks of the bush. They will come in towards the end of the carcass's lifespan, if you want to call it that, in terms of food, a food source, and they will clear the meat, the intercostal muscles between the ribs and the skull, and they clear up. And quite often as a guide, if I drive into an area and there's been a kill, and I see on the tree there are hooded vultures or white-headed vultures on the tree, I know that there's a good chance that the predator has left. There's not much meat left, and it is fairly safe to go in on foot and try and assess whether it is okay to take the guests in and to go and enjoy the sighting. But generally, if they are lappet-faced vultures, a few eagle species, and the Cape or Cape or white-backed vultures around, that generally means that there's still meat on the carcass, and you kind of stay away and keep your distance. There are hooded vultures kind of at the water busy drinking now. The guys that are drinking, they are the hooded ones. They are the toothpicks of the bush. And then in the background there, we've got a beautiful African spoonbill.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Some of you out there are brilliant at identifying hyenas.
Now, why do you think people have got this huge misunderstanding about reptiles?
Right in front of me there was the face of an astounded buffalo bull.
This is live and interactive, so everybody, if you have any questions and comments, please do send them through and let us know what you'd like.
They might not be the prettiest of birds, but we need them, guys. They are very, very important. We've got the spoon bull now that's busy looking for fish. What he's doing is he's sifting, and they're trying to feel for any kind of food source, which then they grab it. And there's our friend the marabou. I don't know. I've had guests say to me, "Ugh, jeepers, that is an ugly bird." But, you know, okay, it is ugly. I'll give you that. But I mean, I feel bad saying it. But they're beautiful in their own way, aren't they? Just, I mean, at least the wing looks nice. And what's quite interesting is that you can see that air sac that's protruding there. They actually use that to cool themselves down. So they'll inflate it and deflate it, and that air helps to cool them down. Funny looking things. The other thing they do as well to keep cool is you'll see its legs are white. And I mean, this doesn't add to its lovability, I'll be honest with you, but the reason for it is because they defecate on their own legs, and it helps to cool them down because obviously the white reflects the sun. So they're quite clever in their own way. And let me tell you, I've heard that bull snap shut a few times because they often are found at kills as well. They love, they'll eat meat, and they also will, I've seen them chewing on bones. Sometimes I've actually seen a few of them swallow bones as well. But yeah, check those white legs, and funny things. I actually saw one of these things eat a baby crocodile once at a waterhole. He was kind of walking along the waterhole. I hadn't seen the crocodile, and and it just snapped this crocodile up and just ate it and walked off like it had done nothing wrong. Got some impala in the background there. Looks like a stunning day. Beautiful. Monica, thank you very much for your question. You are asking do all birds have crops? So Monica, no. Not all birds have crops. They, generally speaking, it's generally your scavenger birds that have got crops because they store some of the food that they eat. Look at those beautiful vultures. It's just stunning. So you see there. So these guys sometimes will fill their crops, these vultures, so much that they can't fly off. They just sit there, basically like me. On Christmas Day, I sit with my crop full. These guys do the exact same thing. So it's more just for holding a significant amount of food, and then they're able to swallow it slowly. For animals that don't eat as often, which are birds like this. I can give you an example of a bird that doesn't have a crop, and that's actually an owl. Owls don't have crops. So yeah, it just depends on the bird and what their function is. Thank you for the question. That's a very interesting question. I like that. Keep it coming, guys. I like these questions. You guys are on form today. Yeah, all those beautiful birds in the background. I can hear a go-away bird, wah, in the background. So guys, don't forget, the question today was, if you could sit down with one animal and talk to it and find out about it and its life and its journey on this beautiful planet of ours, which one would it be? Keep them coming. I've been really enjoying and thank you so much for your questions as well. Keep them coming. Really having a great time with you guys today. Thank you so much. You often see vultures at the water, especially after they've been feeding. They'll come through and drink quite a lot of water. Oh. Beautiful. Big wings out there. Just so this will also be helping cool the bird down. They also sometimes, if they've been splashing in the water a little bit, it's just to dry themselves off. I think this marabou stork somehow heard me criticize it and it's now trying to beautify itself. Hopefully it works. Sandy Franklin, thank you very, very much for your question. You have asked me, what are crops, bird crops. So Sandy, a crop is actually, it's a muscular pouch that expands, and it's part of the bird's esophagus. It's just on the throat, or the back of the throat, and it's basically used for storing food. So you could almost liken it to like a little sandwich bag, put it that way, that these birds carry around with them. We just see the bird on what's the name. Let me get back. I'm trying to check what bird it is. I think it's our spoonbill. I think. Yes, it is. So sorry, Sandy. It's my bush ADD that came into play again. So it's got a few functions. So like I was saying with the vultures, they will store food inside it, so that they can they've got kind of reserves, and they're able to digest slowly. You can just imagine if they're at a kill and they're just swallowing copious amounts of meat, it could cause a bit of a problem. So they store it in there. Some birds actually use it for moistening and softening of their food. So they'll put something that's fairly rigid and isn't going to go down very easily, and it'll stay in that crop until it's moist enough for it to swallow it without any issues. And then a big part of a crop is actually regurgitation for the youngsters. So often when parents are feeding their young ones, they will store food in the crop, and they'll fly to their nest, and they will essentially regurgitate that food into the little one's mouth or beak to feed the little one. So that's quite important.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
Getting to know the family. He's just there for the fun of it. So you often will see the females with the young males like that on their own. And if there is a big male in the herd, then you know that things are about to get interesting. So Raw, you have sent me a question, which I'm very appreciative of. You've asked, good afternoon to you, first of all. And then you've said, in the Cape, pied crows have replaced vultures in doing the scavenging. Do you think that as species disappear from areas that others would step into that role? So Raw, Mother Nature is phenomenal. She tries to find balance wherever she can. So absolutely, I do think that there are some species that will kind of take the reins, but they'll never do the same job. You know, everything is kind of, nothing is kind of created equally. And so would it do what a vulture does? No. Would it have a role to play where it could essentially help with that disease not spreading? Sure, absolutely, to a point. But you know, it would never be able to eat the amount that a vulture would eat. And of course they wouldn't be able to find as much food as vultures find, because they don't go as high as vultures. You know, vultures can go high and see, you know, for, you know, kilometers away what's going on. So yeah, thank you so much for the question. And we have some little piggies, some warthogs running onto the screen here. See how they go down onto their knees as they feed. That's really just to get closer to the ground. They use the top of their snout to dig, because their favorite thing in the world is grass roots. Love roots. So they'll use the top of their nose is like, it's almost like hard rubber, and they'll sift through the ground looking for roots and different vegetation to eat. They're very sweet. Got another helmeted guinea fowl in there. So I recently went on a trip to Shishlui Mfolozi Game Reserve in northern KwaZulu-Natal, and I got to tell you, the warthogs there are absolutely massive. I don't know what they are eating. In fact, I don't even know if it's legal what they are eating, but they are huge. There was the male warthogs there, I reckon, are at least 1.5 times the size of the ones that I'm used to around Kruger and Botswana and stuff. They just are absolutely massive. It's so funny. Like I feel sorry for the lions and leopards that have to hunt them, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't mess with them, not a chance. They just look so big, and their tusks are huge as well. Lots going on around the Vic Falls waterhole. There's the impala, starting to make their way through now. So funny with impala. When I have visitors that come out from various places all over the world, first time they see the impala, they are like, oh my goodness, because they really are beautiful creatures. There's a beautiful male kudu there, oh, stunning. And we stop and we talk about them, and I always chuckle to myself, because I think, you know, like the enthusiasm is there and I love it. But in 2 hours time, that enthusiasm is going to wane quite quickly because we see so many of them. And in true form, 2 hours later, we have guests going. Someone will say, how many impala are here? Is it normal to see so many? Because it's just so many of them. But they have a very, very important role in the ecosystem, which we can go into at some stage. But we're going to move over to Nkoro and go see what's going on over there. Oh, and we have a family affair. And we got a hippo. Got a hippo in the waterhole there, kind of in the middle off to the right. Just put its snout out of the water. That pond is drying up fairly quickly. Oh, beautiful. So this kind of behavior is quite common. I'm sure some of you have seen them, some of our regulars around the different reserves that we're so lucky to have here in South Africa. You often will find elephants coming down to a waterhole, and then they almost walk around and kind of touch the water a little bit, and then they move on somewhere else. And the reason they do this is because they are extremely picky drinkers. They will go for the freshest water that they can find. And so they kind of move around and look for the area where there's less mud, the water's cooler. Often at a waterhole that's pumped, that has fresh water pumped in every day, they'll go to where the water inlet is, and then they'll go and drink from there. They really are fussy with their water. They're so funny. I just love them so much, but seems like they've found a little bath there. They're going to enjoy their... This is very important for elephants. Not only, like I said, to cover themselves in water and then later some mud, but that playing in the water and the bathing together and the mud slinging that you see happening there, it's very, very important for social interactions. You know, they bond together, and you know, it's like a family. You know what it's like. You take the family somewhere and the phones get put down and you actually go and you have fun somewhere, whether it be a water park or whatever the case is. And you actually really enjoy each other's company. And it's the same thing for these guys. They go and they love life together. So, yeah, so awesome to see. And the one in the middle there is having a proper mud bath. The hippo is being surrounded. You can see that hippo is starting to think, this may not be the safest area to be chilling in at the moment. I love just listening to the sounds of the elephants drinking. So cool, man. See, a few of them are going. Places to go, trees to push over. Time waits for no Ellie. And it's also not uncommon to see hippo on their own at the waterhole like this. Quite often if a male gets chased out of a territory or loses his territory, sometimes too, they end up wandering and they go kind of from waterhole to waterhole, looking for a place to stay. And quite often on game drives I'll come across a male hippo that is in a waterhole, and then the next morning we come past that same waterhole and he's gone, and we find him further up on the river or at another waterhole. It's very, very common at this time of year to see them like this. So he may not even be here tomorrow. He may be elsewhere. Beautiful interaction happening there with these two. It must be great being a mommy elephant with those tusks. You know, your kid misbehaves, you just clonk it on the head with a tusk. Keep quiet, douche. It would work quite well. So Darren, thank you very much for your question. You are asking, since elephants are social and form close bonds with each other, do elephant bulls struggle when they have to leave their maternal herds? So Darren, I can't give you an exact answer to this because I don't know. I mean, I would, from what I know about elephants and the behavior that I've seen over years of guarding, they are extremely emotional and very intelligent creatures. And so I have no doubt that, you know, when they get to the age of around about 15, 16 or so, and they get pushed out of the herd, that there must be a level of stress and a level of kind of melancholy that comes over them. And almost like, come on, Mom, please. And Mom's like, nope, sorry, game over. You got to get out of here. But often what they do is they are quite quick to join up with other elephants, specifically older ones, and they form new bonds with other elephants. And just like us, that have to leave the nest eventually, you know, we start our own families and we have bonds with other people. And I've seen bull elephants interact with what I would call their natal herd just by how gentle they are with each other. And so I'm sure at some stages they bump into each other in the bush, and you know, they because of how intelligent they are, they say hello and have their own little form of communication going on. But yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a level of stress there. So thank you for your question, Darren. And we have moved over to Founders, and we've got some springbok. Now I know when I say the word springbok, it's probably going, if there's any viewers from New Zealand, just me saying the word springbok is probably going to make you shudder a little bit after the baby box winning over the weekend. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know I'm probably going to get some pretty hectic comments for that, but I just had to do it. And I see something having a bit of a sift around there. Looked like a duck or a goose of some kind. We'll get back to that soon. Fortunately, I don't think the rhino came back. I think maybe we just moved over just at the wrong time as it was leaving, but that's just the bush. That's kind of how it goes. I might be a bit stumped with this one because it's a female of some kind. Guys, I may need your help with this. I have seen this bird before, but I cannot remember what it is. There might be maybe the other one will give me a better one. So guys, I've just backed into the recess of my brain here. This is a African shell duck. This is an awesome view. You do not often see these guys. They look very similar to Egyptian geese actually when they're in flight, but you generally found these guys in the drier areas. But that's really cool. So the first one we saw was a female, and then as soon as they panned over to this guy, it jogged my memory. I don't often get to see these guys. So this is cool, man. Beautiful, beautiful. So an interesting fact about these ducks, guys, is they actually rely on aardvarks for breeding. Because they actually will go into aardvark burrows and breed inside there. And because of that, sometimes their nest might be, a few kilometers away from the water. So they are. It's almost like they rely solely on these aardvarks, which is quite an interesting adaptation. Is the female there? So that head threw me. I thought possibly, just for a moment, I thought maybe knobbed duck, but yeah, thankfully I got it. And Richard B, thank you very much for confirming it for me. Yes, African shell duck, female with the white head. Very nice. Nice to have some birders around. And listen, on that note, guys, tell me something. Should we be putting together a list? Should we be putting together a bird list? How many of you out there are birders? I'm thinking maybe for future broadcasts, we make lists and then we kind of see how many birds we can find in a 12-month basis just by visiting these cameras. What do you...
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions.
Animals rely on their senses.
Share your thoughts and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a wild earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
to allow the food chain to be as natural as possible. And so, you know, in the summertime, which is generally December, well, not generally, summer's summer, but we generally get the youngsters being born anytime from the middle of November, and then it goes through into the summertime. And often, if I'm doing guarding during that time of year, there are baby impala in particular that get taken, and you know, you'll see other baby animals that sometimes will be left behind. You know, the adults will run and get left behind, and they get taken out. And I mean, you know, as human beings, one of our first instincts is to be protective, no? But yeah, we can't, unfortunately. You know, we have to let nature take its course, because that animal's got to eat. You know, you take that impala away from that animal, and that animal may die of starvation, because you never know when your next meal is coming. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes. But thank you very much, Nicholas, for that question. And then Deb D, you were saying that you're a birder at heart, and you enjoy comparing the birds, our African birds, to your North American birds. So, Deb, thank you for your comment, first of all. And it's so funny because last night I was watching a movie called The Big Year. Now, as a birder, it's like one of our favorite movies, right? And I was thinking to myself how crazy it is that people, that over a year period, they can find, you know, close to 860 bird species in North America, and some of them are absolutely stunning. So yeah, it would be so interesting, and if you are a regular, please, when we do see birds like this stunning female shelduck here, let us know if there's a bird in North America that looks similar. And yeah, you know, the more information you guys can give me, the better. I just love stuff like this. This is so cool. So thank you, Deb. I will hold you to it. See what we can compare them to. So I'm just checking the shelduck out with its foot there. I just want to see whether she puts it down or not. I don't know whether maybe she's damaged it in some way. Sometimes they do lift it up while they're busy preening. Let's see if she puts it down. Oh, she's making herself look so pretty. That gorgeous white head. So they have different color variations, the females of the shelducks. You know, some of them might have more spots, more lines. Oh, but a yoga, downward duck. Males just walk past. She just looks so beautiful, he thought he'd come and have a look. Good boy. Oh, beautiful. And of course, the ducks have that, as with most water birds, they've got that thin layer of oil. It's almost like an oily substance on their feathers, just to help keep the water out and keep them buoyant. I know one of the water birds that does not have that as much, should I say, as the other birds, is a reed cormorant that we get here, and white-breasted cormorants. I'm sure we will bump into one at some stage. Oh, I see a bit of movement there. Looks like it's, yeah, I don't know. Oh, she's putting it, oh, it's injured. Oh, shame. So it looks like she's got a little bit of an injury on the foot there. but she's putting a bit of weight on it, so hopefully it will, and she's able to move it as well, but it is irritating her. Shame, man. But hopefully she'll heal up, and hopefully she sticks around so we can kind of check how she's doing. Kibeth, you were saying she's got great balance. I mean, I can't even look that graceful on 2 legs, let alone 1. So yeah, you're right, she's got beautiful balance. And Darren, you are asking, what are some common injuries to see in birds? So Darren, I'll be honest with you, I think most of the time that I see injuries with birds is normally broken wings. It's not uncommon for them to, fly into a fence line or hit a power line, or just from regular daily activities for the wing to break. I would say that's probably the most common. And then, of course, with this beautiful girl here, foot injuries are fairly common, especially with your terrestrial birds. So the terrestrial birds are birds that are on the ground most of the time, that don't perch in trees so much. There's the Mufasa of the bird world there. Isn't he gorgeous? Look at that grey head. You got to say, Mother Nature she just knows how to make things right. Just look at that.
Now this leopard that we're looking at is known by the name of Hlalamba.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marlow Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Hlalamba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
We are here with a male leopard.
I have actually a guide friend of mine actually told me of a time where they saw a whole like almost 20, I think he said, I stand to be corrected, but almost 20, there's a wagtail on the waterline there, almost 20 chicks, but it looked like it was from another brood. Now we were actually discussing whether possibly that's a thing where, because they are so rare and they're so specific with breeding, that they would adopt other ducklings. We couldn't find any literature on it, but us guides are always questioning things, always asking things. I don't know if any of you know, maybe. Let me know if you've ever heard of that before and never seen anything like that before, but yeah. Beautiful wagtail. As its name suggests, you can see that tail's wagging all the time. Often see them around the water, busy preening themselves and having a drink, having a splash in the water. This is a very common bird that we get in the gardens here in South Africa. They come into, especially if you've got a little water, like a little water bath or something for the birds, you often find them coming in and having a splash. Stunning birds. Oh, we've got a bit of a bath happening there. Oh, now on cue. So this is very important for the birds, having a big splash in the water here. Cleans, gets the dust off them, and keeps the feathers taut as well. Sometimes, over time with all the dust and everything, the feathers tend to fray a little bit. So that little bit of water just kind of keeps it taut and keeps it clean, keeps the feathers sealed. It's very, very important that these birds have this little time in the water, little splish splash. I hope someone that can hear me is going to go for a swim after this, because I almost feel like going for a swim after seeing this. Looks like fun. But guys, believe it or not, our time is coming to an end soon, and I'm really, really, really appreciative. I couldn't have asked for a better first time at the waterhole with all of you. And Jive Bunny, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you again. Thanks, guys, for the questions and the comments and putting up with a few bad jokes. That's kind of how it works. Just think about how my kids feel. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. And don't forget that our dedicated team are going to be ready at 6:30 tomorrow morning for our sunrise game drive. So make sure you tune in. Always something interesting happening on those drives, and I stay glued to the TV. I absolutely love it when I'm not guiding. So guys, thank you very much again. Thank you for your questions, and I hope to be with you guys soon. You've been awesome. I've been Sean, and it's cheers for now.
This is Safari Spotlight, a journey into the wildlife wonders of Southern Africa. Join us on an enthralling virtual safari to relax, learn, and be inspired. Discover magnificent landscapes, meet our iconic animal stars, and enjoy stunning conservation success stories. If you would like to experience these magnificent wild places, visit Wild Earth Travel. The wild is calling.